What's going on YouTube? My name's Gabe. I like to fish, and today I'm out here at a small little lake getting ready to do some wintertime crappie fishing. So y'all stick around and enjoy the show. So I figure I'd show you guys my little boat. So this right here is what I fish out of currently. It's just a little 10-foot John boat. It's got a bow mount trolling motor up here on the front, just a little Minn Kota edge. And I've got a 7-inch Garmin fish finder up here with it. I just got two regular lead acid batteries in the back and just one little seat up there. I got the whole inside carpeted, and this lake I'm at right now is just it's a small lake. It's only about 100 acres and it's electric motor only, so this little boat right here is perfect for this little lake and the kind of fishing that I'm gonna be doing today. So let me tell you guys, this is actually my first time out in the water in about 2 weeks now. In my part of the country where I live at in Southern Virginia, I know most of the South has had a really cold spell over these last 2 weeks, but we've been having a problem where it's been getting so cold at night that most of the lakes, the smaller lakes and ponds that I fish have been frozen over. The ice is too thin to where you can't walk on it safely, and I don't have any of the good ice fish anyway, but it's been too thick to where you can't cast from the bank, you can't I can't break through it with my boat, so I've had to sit out these last few weeks. And you can see here that a lot of the coastline, the bank line over here is still iced up back here in this cove where the boat ramp on this lake is. And there's still a lot of snow on the ground, even though it hasn't snowed in about a week and a half now. So it's cold out here. The water temperature is looking really good though, where the last time I came out here on this lake, it was 39 degrees. A lot of it's still so high because of the air temperature, but we're looking at 45 degrees now. And with this little lake, all I'm doing is, it's pretty structureless on the bottom. There's not a lot of defined points or creek channels or anything like that. So I'm just going to where I know the deepest water is, which is at the dam. And from there, I'm just gonna troll around and use my fish finder until I find a nice school of fish. And I'll show y'all what that looks like when we get to it. All right, so we're coming around the corner now from where we put in the boat. And this right here is the dam, and that's where I'm heading. So the deepest part of this lake is only about 12 foot, and it's right over there, right in front of the dam. So that's where I'm gonna start trolling around that, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I've been trolling for about 5 minutes now. I found my first school of fish set up in about 5 feet of water, 5.5, 6 foot, somewhere in that range. And we're gonna see if we can catch them now. Alright guys, we got our first crappie over here. Pretty decent little one. Alright, so let him go. Alright, so I'll show you guys what I was using. So all I have right here is just the slip bobber set up with a Zman baby ballers on here. This is the white and glow color, and then just a trap magnet float. And then up here, a few feet up, I have my bobber stopper. And all I'm doing is I'm just finding these schools of fish, and I'm just throwing this float out there and letting the bait suspend under it. Typically in the winter, I don't like fishing a float like this because the fish are usually too deep for me to fish it effectively. But this lake is fairly shallow, like I said earlier, and also there's a lot of grass on the bottom of this lake, so I don't really like fishing just a traditional jig grub or something like that on a jig head. That's why I like this float instead. And the fish I just caught is only in about 5 feet of water, as you can see over here, 5.9, 6 foot. So I can still fish this slip bobber pretty effectively. And we'll get back to you with some more catches. All right, so all I'm gonna do now is I'm just sitting near the school. I've got it marked on my fish finder down there. And I'm just gonna make a cast with the float and then just pop it back and let it sit for a few seconds after each pop. Just trying to suspend that bait down there and keep it in the same spot, which it's not, today isn't necessarily the best for it because of how windy it is, but the fish don't seem to mind all that much. And there's another one right there, just letting it sit there. And that's actually a big bluegill right there. That is a jumbo. It's the first one. That's the first bluegill I've caught out of this lake in a while. Typically during the winter I catch a lot of crappie and perch out of this lake. So the bluegill is actually a nice surprise for today. And I'll tell you what, wintertime bluegill, they color up and they get this nice purple hue on them, and I love the coloration they get when it's cold water. And he actually came unhooked in the net. Look at that, he's got that nice purple hue to him. Let's get a release on him. See you later. And that's really all I'm doing, is just casting the bobber out, letting it sit there for a little bit. And after a few seconds, maybe 5-10 seconds, I'll move it, let it sit for another 5-10 seconds, and just doing that the whole way back to the boat. You know, in the wintertime, they don't really like much movement on the bait. So just letting it suspend under the bobber is a great way to catch them. I'm actually just going to cast. I'm not even going to go back to the school I was on because I can see another school on the graph right now. So I'm just going to make a cast right here in front of the boat, see if we can catch another one. And it took me a little bit to find the right depth to suspend my bobber at. I went the first 30 minutes I was out here without getting a bite, and I've gotten that crappie and that bluegill back to back now. So I think I've got the depth on point now. While we're making a move, I want to talk about this bait right here, the Zman baby baller. This has become quickly one of my favorite wintertime panfish baits, whether it be for crappie, bluegill as you just saw, perch, because it has a very minimal action, just this little ball on the tail here. It's a great bait to reel just straight back like a grub or a swim bait, but I really like this suspending method with it. And something I want to try in the future is even try it on a drop shot. It's just, I've found it to be a great bait for these panfish in this cold water. And I like how durable it is too, because you know Z-Man's made of that Elastec. And this is actually, I've had this bait on for, this is the same bait I used the last time I came out here, and I haven't had to switch. And it doesn't look like I have to switch anytime soon. It's just, the hardest thing about these baits is to get them to stay on a traditional jig head. But I've got a hack for that I'll have to show in a future video. I just modify the jig heads I buy a little bit, and it helps keep the Z-Man plastics on a lot better. Tell you guys, while I'm letting the bobber sit for a second, this rod and reel I'm using is a Shimano Stimula 5'6" ultralight rod with a Shimano Sienna 500 reel. I know a lot of people don't like the 500 reels because they think they're too small, but with an ultralight rod this small, this short, I feel like the 500 pairs better than the 1000. I think 1000 size reels make it just feel a little heavier than it needs to be. And I actually like the 500, so I like to keep a 500 on this particular setup. But that's what I'm using. I've just got some 4-pound monos, not anything fancy. You don't need anything fancy to catch fish like these. That's the gear I'm using right now, though. There we go. That one won't coming off. It's a nice fish. Looks like a big crappie. Yep, another crappie. Come on in here. Not big, probably about 10 inches. About your average size crappie. Maybe a little smaller, maybe about 8 or 9. Good looking fish though. It's about time. I was having a little dry spell there. Let's get a release on them. Just gonna keep on doing that, just making casts in the same spot. There we go, finally. Got another one. The wind's really picked up, so it's been harder to see my bobber. But we're still catching them. I caught a few off camera. Just trying to get a few more in before the wind gets too bad. Here we go, another nice crappie. Still on the baby ballers, another nice little crappie. Let's get a release on him. Oh, there we go. Got another one. Let's see, we got another crappie. Yes, we do. This one's probably the best one of the day. Yeah, about 9 inches. And I probably caught 10 or 11 crappie now, all on the same bait. And all I gotta do is just push it back up on the hook. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Love these Z-Mans. One more look at them. Let him go. There he goes. Well, that's gonna be the end of my day today, everybody. It was a cold and windy day, but we made the most of it and we caught a bunch of fish. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And in the middle of the video, it's gonna change the width I was recording. Let me know which one you guys like better, the way it was the first half of the video or the way it was at the end of the video. And until next time, stay fishy, guys.